international basketball in full swing. And there's a developing story that is kind of a non-story, but to me, I find this to be interesting and slightly funny. So we're going to kind of dissect it for the folks. You peel back the onion on this story and you're like, that's interesting. Joel Embiid has grown up in Cameroon, right? A French colony, former French colony, speaks French there. He has requested French citizenship. It has recently been accepted, right? And this now opens the door up for what? Joel Embiid to potentially play for the French national basketball team. Huge news. Considering that Team France is already on the come up and that Jerry West in our last interview said that he thinks that the next crop of superstars are coming by way of France, that's huge news. I mean, and Joel Embiid is one of the most unstoppable players on the planet. So whatever national team he plays for, you know he's going to be a focal point, right? He probably would have played in the 2022 Euro tournament for France if it were not for the injuries to his hand and his orbital bone. So you'd think to yourself, this should be a cause for celebration within the ranks of Team France. They should all celebrate having someone this dominant, potentially on their squad. Got a guy who might have won 2 MVPs if he wouldn't have been hurt. And adding him to a team of Rudy Gobert, Evan Fournier. Evan Fournier is very good in French play. You know, I cook him all the time. Very good in French play. Not great other places, but good there. Frank Ntilikina, Victor Wembanyama, who may be the next huge thing in the NBA next year in the 2023 draft, probably going to go number 1. Joel Embiid makes his team a monster, no? Remember, they narrowly lost, Team France did, to Team USA in the Olympics, 87-82. I think if Joel Embiid's on that team, maybe it's a different story. Christos Saltis, who is Team France's head coach, said this. When Joel Embiid is completely selectable, whether that's for reasons about his papers or his physical condition, I don't see why I would not select him. We have, as always, as much as possible, taken the best. So this is a no-brainer, I'm thinking, as I'm reading the story. But then there are shady-ass quotes that come out from the rest of the team. From a couple of key players that have me being like, why? And we don't like to stereotype on this show, but French culture is notorious for being notoriously closed off, shall we say. We've got our own little clique, and we don't need new people coming into it. That's the attitude towards perceived outsiders. Maybe Cameroon is not French enough. Cliquish, exclusionary. Maybe that's not what's going on here, but you read the quotes, read through the lines between them, and you're like, So that's when I read the comments from Evan Fournier and Rudy Gobert. I was not exactly shocked by them, but I feel that we need to call them to attention. You might think, though, even with all that exclusionary shit, if they want to win, which everyone wants to do on the national stage, if you're a citizen of any other country besides USA and you've seen USA just absolutely dominate, you're like, fuck them. What did Fournier say? Let's look. Evan Fournier. It's something that's complicated. There's so many factors and elements. When the time comes, we'll all talk to each other and we'll all make a decision. We'll see how it goes. It's not complicated, Evan Fournier. It's Joel Embiid, okay? It's not that complicated. You are who you are, and he is who he is. He averaged 31 and 11 and wasn't even healthy when he put up those ungodly numbers when you were being seen as a toxic contract. Fournier then doubled down and said this. Since it's not news, we're not even thinking about it right now. He's not on the squad. He has not been called up. We'll talk about it when the time comes. Sir, the time is now. What? Then Rudy Gobert goes on to say this, which is even somehow worse than what Evan Fournier had to say. There are a lot of things to think about in regards to this. Joel's a unique player. And we already have a team that's well-knit. A group that lives well together. You have to see how it might work for the group. The gall, Rudy Gobert, for you to say we're going to have to see how his unique skill set will fit into our group, it gets even worse. He said this, as long as it sticks to our team, our chemistry, and our principles of play, and he is ready to adapt to us, he could be a nice weapon for us. Could be a nice weapon? No one in the history of life has ever disregarded and dismissed Joel Embiid as a nice piece or a nice weapon. Frank Ntilikina is a nice weapon. This is the weapon. This is like saying you've got a nuclear warhead, which is your nice weapon. It's a nice weapon. It's like, oh yeah, what are those shoes? Oh, they're the Travis Scotts. Just nice. They're kind of nice kicks. They're the kicks. My guys, you're going to need to rethink your whole attitude on this. It's two of the most hated players in the NBA trying to keep out Joel Embiid, who went through hell and high water to get French national citizenship so he could play on your squad that consistently underperforms against Team USA. Sir, if he wants to play, you've got no say in this. As long as you adapt to us, we might think about letting you play. Joel Embiid, Victor Wembanyama, and 12 other random French kids would smash you fuckers. Get out of here. Absolutely roll the red carpet out for Joel Embiid. Tell him you take everything you said back. As soon as he's eligible to play, he's on our team. We're making him the focal point of our team. No one can stop us. Team USA has no center that can even close to match up with Joel Embiid. We're going to pound them. We're going to bring the gold medal to France and restore back to the elite level that we know that we are, because we know how arrogant and snobby the French culture is. So that's how snobby. We'll think about we will think about Joel Embiid. It's like, what are you talking about? Poor El Joel. He just never gets a great break. He has the worst teammates. Even teammates he doesn't even have yet are the worst. All he wants to do is play for his new country, and this is how he's treated. You got Fournier, who's terribly overrated, and Rudy Gobert, who literally got one lob a game from his teammate. Two players who I say have a bit of an image problem in the league trying to keep this man out. Come on, make it make sense, respectfully.